Tonight on Size Eyes on the Skies.
Taking a look at current conditions right now, Ames are in those double digits there, 11 degrees. Winds coming out of the north-northeast there at 12 miles per hour. Feeling a little dry with a dew point there of -2. Temperatures right now across the state, we've got quite the gradient. We have single digits here in northwest Iowa, 4 in Sioux City. Once we get into central, we do have 13 degrees in Des Moines. And then once we get into eastern Iowa, we are in those 20s. I will have updates on the winter storm that is yet to come here in Iowa coming up.
Plus, Jason has your national forecast. All that and more as this Tuesday, February 11th edition of Size Eyes on the Skies starts now.
Broadcasting live from the studios at Iowa State University, the Iowa State Meteorology Department brings you the latest weather from across the country and out your front door. This is Size Eyes on the Skies.
Good evening. I'm your host, Aubrie Schineider, and we will begin with tonight's weather story. On this day in 1983, a snowstorm dubbed the Megalopolitan Blockbuster Snowstorm hit the mid-Atlantic and southern New England parts of the United States. In Allentown, Pennsylvania, up to 25 inches of snow fell, and even up to 35 inches was reported in parts of the Blue Ridge Mountains in West Virginia. A record 19 inches of snow in 12 hours was reported in Windsor Locks, Connecticut, and 5 inches of snow in an hour was recorded in Allentown and Hartford. A ship sank off the Virginia-Maryland coast, killing 33, and there were a total of 43 storm-related fatalities. A new 24-hour snowfall records were set in parts of Pennsylvania and Connecticut. And now, to discuss more with what's happening around the country, here's Jason with your national forecast.
All right, our headlines for our national weather this week. We have a 1-2 punch of winter storms moving across the U.S. We have the southern severe threat for your Wednesday night, and our cold air is returning. It's going to be cold upcoming this next week, so watch out for those.
Welcome back. Now let's go to the national forecast with Jason. So I see we have some snow going on around the country.
Yeah, we're finally going to get a chance to ski here in Iowa. So let's look at the satellite radar. We're zoomed in here on the East Coast, which is our first storm that we're going to look at. We have a lot of thunderstorms stretching from Louisiana up in the line towards the south corner of West Virginia. We got some strong thunderstorms, a lot of rain, but nothing too dangerous or serious. Just a lot of rain in your Tennessee and northern Georgia area, so we'll be on the watch for flooding in those areas. But our big story maker today is the snow here, moving through our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., up into New Jersey and New York. You guys will be seeing around 5 to 7 inches here in Washington, D.C., a little bit less in New York, but it'll still be enough to disrupt your commutes. As we zoom out to the rest of the country, we got our next storm coming in around Denver, and we're already seeing some snow in southern Iowa. And we have a third storm that'll be coming this weekend out off the coast of San Francisco. Tomorrow night, we have some severe weather in southeast. It stretches from New Orleans and Jackson up through Atlanta on your I-65 and I-20 corridors. We'll be watching out for a slight chance of tornadoes and some strong winds in this area as we move into our Wednesday evening. So let's look at our future temperatures. As we move into Wednesday, it'll be cold, -2 in Billings, 7 in Minneapolis, and we'll see this cold front right here with this warm air in front of it. That'll be our ingredients for our severe weather outbreak. This warm air will provide enough energy for those severe storms to pop, and this cold air will provide a reason for it to lift up and start off those storms. As we move into our Thursday, we'll see this cold air expand across the entire country. It'll be cold all the way to the East Coast. You got 41 in New York, 30 in Cincinnati, and a frigid 11 up in Minneapolis. And as we move into our Thursday afternoon, it'll warm up slightly, but it'll still remain cold across the entire country. So let's look at that futurecast and track this snow. So as we go into our Wednesday morning, you'll see the snow move off the East Coast and some rain stick around. But our big story is this big plume of snow in the Midwest. We'll see large snowfall values and lots of rain down in the Southeast. As we move through Wednesday evening, it'll start snowing in Michigan, Toronto, and we'll see our possible severe storm outbreak in the Southeast. And as we move into Thursday, that'll be moving off the East Coast. Maine, you'll still be getting some snow, but it'll be overall out of our hair, and we'll get ready to forecast our next system moving in off the West Coast. So as we look at our snowfall for tonight's storm on the East Coast, you'll be seeing around 6 inches in Washington, D.C., less on the outskirts. You'll be seeing 1 to 3 in New York, 3 to 5 in New Jersey. It'll be a big time disruptor for your evening and morning commutes tomorrow, but after that, we'll be zooming out to the entire country for your Wednesday afternoon. You'll be looking at a lot of snow in Iowa. You'll be 6 to 9 inches in the southwest corner, but over this entire swath of the central part of the country, we'll be looking at 3 to 9 inches. As we move into our Thursday, you see a little bit falls in the northeast, but you guys will be getting a slight break from winter weather, and we'll be seeing our big snowfall winners is Canada with 1 foot to 1.5 foot of snow. As you look into the week ahead, we're looking at Charleston. You guys will have a gloomy Wednesday, some storms on Thursday, but warm at 69. You'll have a nice Friday, warm and stormy for your weekend, and it cools off heading into next week.
It's time for a trivia question for the evening. The highest recorded average temperature in the state of Iowa for the month of February is A, 35.8 degrees Fahrenheit, B, 39.9 degrees Fahrenheit, C, 43.4 degrees Fahrenheit, or D, 37.2 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll have that answer for you at the end of the show. Plus, we'll have your Iowa weather after the break.
Beat it. Just beat it.
Just get in, we'll talk about it.
I've got to go home.
Oh, come on, Carrie. We're going to a new place.
She wants to go home, right? Let's go. Yeah, let's go. Whoa! You okay to drive? Yeah, I'm fine. You sure?
Relax.
What's a few beers?
If you don't stop your friend from drinking and driving, you're as good as dead. Drinking and driving can kill a friendship.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at your Iowa weather with Adriane. So I see we're finally getting some snow.
Yeah, are you a fan of it?
Yes, I am.
See,
Snow.
I am not. So I am so upset about what is going on. But I'm going to show you what's going on right now. But if we take a look at our current conditions right now, as we said before, Ames, they're at 11 degrees, winds again coming out of the north-northeast at 12 miles per hour. It feels like -3. It is chilly out there. Taking a look at current temperatures right now, we're in the single digits in northwest Iowa, Spencer there at 2, Sioux City at 4. Once we get into central Iowa, Des Moines at 13. Again, once we get to the east, we are finally in those 20s. Davenport there at 23, Burlington 25. But it feels like it's kind of throwing us off as we do see -1 there in Mason City. Spencer there at 0. Once we get to Des Moines again, feels like 8, so not far off from what their actual temperature. Davenport there at 13. Remember, their temperature at the moment is currently 23 degrees. But once we look at our zone cast highs for tomorrow, as we look into northeast Iowa, some of y'all are in those single digits, Hampton and Mason City. Osage there at 10. Charles City as well. Waverly there, you're at 13. But once we get into southeast Iowa, we do see 16 in Vinton, Cedar Rapids, following at 18. Iowa City at 20. Western Iowa, you are sitting in those teens as well. 10 degrees in Denison and Harlan as well. Red Oak at 14. Northwest Iowa, some of you guys, again, are in those single digits. Estherville and Okoboji there at 9. Lamar's, Orange City, and Rock Rapids as well, all sitting at 10 degrees. Looking at our current satellite and radar, we do have some snow making its way across southern Iowa right now. Some of the snow is touching the ground, while some of it is not. But once we look ahead here, we are expecting the snow to increase. Looking by Wednesday morning, we do see that system making its way into the state of Iowa. Should propagate to the northeast there. Most of the state, at least western Iowa, will clear out by Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Once we get into Thursday, we're looking clear. Again, if you're not a fan of snow, I have some bad news for Friday as well, as we are sitting, especially in eastern Iowa, you do have some snow there as well. Now again, by Saturday, we do see a couple of bands there, and at least at central Iowa. Again, should propagate to the northeast. Again, that band does persist by around Saturday afternoon. But by Sunday, Sunday morning there, we do see some clear conditions. Again, before I talk about the snowfall forecast, I must tell you that the average snowfall totals right now, we are 19.4 inches below average right now. So this is pretty well needed for the state of Iowa. Ames there, you're getting 1.7, Des Moines 2 inches there. By Wednesday morning, again, once we get into Wednesday night, we are seeing those totals increase, especially there in Crescent, getting up to 5 inches. But take a look at this. We are getting into the 6-7 inch mark here, especially in eastern Iowa. Dubuque there at 7.6. But if you look in northeast in Decorah here, you're at 9.4. Again, once we get into Saturday afternoon, we are seeing 10.6 in Decorah, but once we get into Dubuque, you're sitting there at 9 inches. Again, unfortunately, as someone who does not like snow, this is very well needed for this time of year. 7.2 inches here in Ames. Again, by Monday afternoon, we are seeing those snowfall totals increase by at least 1/10 of an inch. As we look at tonight, though, we are sitting in those single digits. Again, north-northeast winds at 15 miles per hour. We are expecting to get snow throughout the night tonight, so expect that forecast to change quite a bit. But taking a look at the week ahead, though, we are sitting, again, snow there on Wednesday. The teens there, 13. By Thursday, we are finally seeing those sunny skies, but we will be at 12 degrees. But finally, Friday, which is going to be my favorite day of the week because we are sitting there at 30 degrees. We finally get that nice increase in temperature. By Saturday, we're sitting in those mid-20s. But once we get into Sunday, we are sitting in those single digits. Monday, again, we are going back up into those teens, and Tuesday as well. But if you look at Tuesday night, we are sitting back into those negatives once again.
Thank you, Adriane, for that forecast. And now for our trivia question answer. The highest recorded average temperature in the state of Iowa for the month of February is A, 35.8 degrees Fahrenheit, B, 39.9 degrees Fahrenheit, C, 43.4 degrees Fahrenheit, or D, 37.2 degrees Fahrenheit. What do you guys all think?
Oh, I have no idea. I think I'm gonna have to go with A, just because it's the first name. It's my initial of my first name, so I'm just gonna go with A because it's favoritism at this point.
I'd go with D. We usually have snow most of February, so I'd guess the 37 answer.
I have to agree with you on that. And the answer is B, 39.9 degrees Fahrenheit. This was recorded in 2024.
Yeah, last year was warm. I remember playing some football in February.
Yeah, definitely warm last year.
I just hate this cold weather. I wish it was lower than 39.9, but it's very common for this time of year, so it's pretty good.
That concludes tonight's show. Please be sure to follow us on X/Twitter, and you can find all our shows on YouTube under our Size Eyes channel. Thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful night.
Good job, guys. Killing it.
Man.
Yeah.